Hey there, it's Jessica here, and today's video is for our February YouTube hop, and this is the color palette that we're working with. It has some nice pinks and greens and creams. So this is what I am working with and basing my page off of. I wanted to keep the color palette next to me because a lot of times when I'm doing color palettes I tend to stray from it, so I wanted to just leave it to the side there so I'd remember all the colors. I'm starting using this light pink. It's the Butterfly Spells color, and it's some Alchemy Sparks acrylic paint, and it's really pretty. It has a little bit of shimmer to it, and it's nice and thick and creamy, so I'm applying it using a Stamperia stencil. I'm working on some Vicky Bouton Foundations paper, so this is really good thick mixed media paper. So I didn't necessarily need to apply that clear gesso at first, but I decided to do that anyways because I knew that I wanted to add a lot of mixed media to it, so that just ensures that the page will hold up to all of my paints and inks and sprays and all else that I'm going to add. I was in the mood for creating a really thick and chunky, very mixed media heavy layout for today. So when I feel like making a page like this, I first look at my art journals and see if any of them would work with the embellishments that I wanted to use. But because I had such thick flowers that I'm using for this page, I decided to make a page in my 6x8 album, because in there I can put this page in a page protector and it has clips on the side, so I can make my page as chunky as I want. First I adhered a chipboard C floral shape onto my background, and this is what I'm going to be building most of my clustering and embellishments around. And then I'm using a hot glue gun to adhere these metal blooms, and I decided to use a hot glue gun for this because a lot of times if you're using regular wet glue with these metal pieces, it just takes a long time to dry, but they'll definitely stick with your typical liquid glue as well. It just takes a little bit longer. And after I had them all in place, I added a coat of white gesso, and this is so the paint that I add on top of it will stick nicely. If I didn't add this gesso, most of the paint would just run right off all these metal pieces. Adding a coat of gesso is also just as important for the chipboard piece because otherwise the paint just soaks right into it and it's not as vibrant as what it would be otherwise. So looking back at the color palette, I am adding that same green, and I'm adding all of this in the background of that C-shaped plant area, and this will be the base for the flowers. So I'm thinking of having nice light pink and white flowers and the green, all the greens and the leaves below. When I'm trying to build dimension, especially when using things like leaves and flowers, I like to add 3 shades. So I first added the medium shade over everything for the leaves, and I'll do the same steps for the flowers as well, but I started with the medium shade and just painted over everything. Then I added a little bit of highlight using a lighter green, and now I'm going back in to where I want more shadows and some deeper color, back with a darker green. And this main green that I'm using is avocado green color from the liquid acrylics. If you've seen my videos before, you know I use these liquid acrylics all the time. I really love using them for mixed media pieces like this because I add a little bit of water to the paint and they just easily fill in all of the crevices. Now I am working on painting my flowers. It might have been easier if I hadn't adhered these flowers first and painted them pink before adhering them, but because they do stick out quite a bit, it wasn't too hard to avoid getting paint on my green part. But if you're doing a layout like this, maybe paint all your flowers first, then stick them down. But like I said, it wasn't too hard to go around it anyways, so this is how I normally do it, because a lot of times I just work with monochrome colors with pages like this. So I just adhere everything, gesso it, and then start painting. And like I said, how I did with the leaves, I started with the mid-tone for these flowers, and now I'm adding a bit of a deeper tone using the crimson liquid acrylics. And like I said, the liquid acrylics goes into the crevices really nicely, so that's what I'm counting on with this. So any little folds in these meadow flowers will get this crimson color deeper in those edges. And after this is dry, I'll add some milky white paint. And I could have used more of a regular white or even a gesso, but I wanted to get a little bit creamier to follow the color palette more. And this is my highlights, so I'm just using my finger to apply it here and there and just on the highest points. I really think adding multiple shades is what makes pieces like this more interesting. And as I'm adding these colors, I also am splattering my background a little bit to really give it that mixed media feel. So like I was saying at the beginning of this video, this is for our February YouTube hop. Each month our design team has a YouTube hop, and we usually go with a theme. This month's theme is working with the color palette, and we each put a video on our YouTube channels, so if you hop around and watch the videos and leave a comment at each of the videos, you'll be entered to win a $15 cherry on top gift card. And there's always so much awesome inspiration on these hops. I think they're awesome to watch even without getting a gift card, so make sure to check out all the other videos. They will be linked in the description below, as well as links to all of the products that I'm using. And if you ever have any questions about what I'm doing or want to see a specific technique or anything, leave that in the comments as well, and make sure to respond. So if you saw, I really built up my photo, the back of my photo, with chipboard, and this is so, for one, the chipboard makes it so the photo won't bend or warp over time, and also I wanted to add that height so it would be around the same height as these really bulky flowers, so it's not just sitting in the background, but it's on the same level as them. Now I'm going around adding some glass pearls. I just think it adds a nice touch here and there. And I'll also add some paper flowers. These are from 49 and Market, and they're just white, but I thought that the stark white of them were a little too bright, so I watered down that same pink paint, and I'm painting them with it. So they're still very white flowers, but they have a little bit of a softer feel that blends with the background better. And whenever I'm doing a piece like this, I always like to add some metallic wax. I think it just adds so much. So this is the white pearl color, and it just adds a little bit of a glisten. Again, I apply it with my finger so I can really control how much and where it goes. And I don't like to add too much, but just a little bit here and there. I really like all of the different textures that I have going on this page, from the background stencil to the chipboard, and I like the combination of metal flowers and paper flowers, and then those pearls on there too. So there's a lot of different textures, and I think that it really builds to create an interesting page. We haven't done a color theme hop for a while with the design team, so I think it's going to be super cool to see all of the different ways that these three basic colors were interpreted, with the green and the light pink and the soft cream. So thanks for watching, and make sure to check out all of the other videos in the hop. I had a lot of fun making this page, and we'll see you next time.